Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3, the final deciding match between XMG's Monchi and Empire's Beasty here on Daybreak. We are all tied up at 1 game apiece as Monchi has once again spawned as the green Protoss player on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Beasty spawning as the yellow Terran player on the top right-hand side of the map. So far, Game 1 and Game 2 could not have been more different in terms of the strategies we saw. Beasty opened up in Game 1 with a 1-1-1 build against a Nexus first build coming in from Monchi. Now, normally that would spell near certain doom and death for the Protoss, but Monchi was able to somehow react and respond every which way he needed in order to take the victory. Now in Game 2, Beasty played a much more traditional build, getting the barracks, going for an orbital command, and then also hiding an orbital command in his base, giving him a very strong economic advantage. The probe is now wandering around inside here, will notice that there is no refinery, and also hasn't spotted a barracks yet. This is going to be a huge indicator, as we should be seeing a fast command center come in here in just a moment. SCV wandering around, running away. The one probe is looking, doesn't spot a command center, and this probe or this SCV is just going to be sitting and waiting down here before it comes back up. Probe is looking for a barracks, is not going to spot it, as we are going to see a ninja command center placed down off in a very curious location. Is the probe going to suspect that there is perhaps a proxy barracks? And that is what we are seeing here. The probe now looking to try to get away. The probe is taking a bit of damage, down to 0 shields. And now what is going to be happening? We can see no barracks yet placed down, as the probe now trying to get away. The probe is going to spot the Nexus. Yes, it does. And a little bit of a ninja Nexus there, as we do see a cancellation on the Forge. The Forge perhaps being placed down, suspecting that there would be some sort of proxy marine play. And now the probe is simply going to warp in a Nexus off over here. Barracks has been placed down, and a little bit of mind games early on. Beasty did sacrifice a little bit in order to get that mind game, not placing this command center in an optimal position, delaying his barracks. But he was able to force Monchi to build and cancel a Forge. Monchi is significantly behind in terms of the expansion race. Expansion of Monchi about 40% done. Meanwhile, orbital command already being upgraded on Beasty's second command center, as we are now going into double gas. Alright, so I don't remember the first time I've seen command center first into 1 rack's double gas factory, most likely, as this one orbital command will be landing here in just a moment. Will Beasty have enough to actually defend, is the key question. Now, Beasty did spot this Nexus here, which is very important for Beasty. If Beasty didn't spot that Nexus, he would know that the aggression from Monchi is going to be much heavier. I believe his response to seeing the Nexus here was that double gas, knowing that he could go further up that tech and not necessarily have to go into that double barracks for that triple barracks production. We are double training up Marines now off of a barracks, and a reactor is one of those buildings that always makes me scratch my head a little bit. Early on in the game, having a building build on a reactor, you lose a lot of building time that would normally be trained for Marines. One of the things I would like to see is have SCVs learn how to build add-ons so that the buildings themselves can still produce units. But that might just simply be a pipe dream. Factory now adding in a tech lab. Starport now coming in as well. And are we actually going to see cloaked Banshees? And we did see Banshees in Game 1, the non-cloaked variety. And we are going to see a lift off here. So Beasty may actually be going for cloaked Banshees. But Monchi, as any professional Protoss player knows, you always get at least 1 to 2 observers so that you don't auto lose just because your opponent built Banshees and you were not expecting it. More Marines are now being added here. A second bunker, perhaps even a third bunker, will be added in just a moment, as we're already up to 5 Marines on this front door. Now, at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if a command center was placed right here. Beasty getting supply blocked a little, not up to snuff as of late, sitting at 50 or sitting at 45 over 54, trying to train up more and more. And we are going into a reactor here. We are going into cloak, as there is a pylon now sitting at the third base. Monchi, does he have the option to warp in units? I do believe he does, but he is not going to be... Nope, he warps in a Stalker. The Marine now going up against a Stalker, but not going to work out all too well for him, as the Marine does get taken down. So a free, easy kill on the Marine, as the Stalker does back away here. So far, 3 bunkers, 8 Marines looking to defend. Meanwhile, we are now going into our first Observer and also our first Cloaked Banshee. The Observer and the Cloaked Banshee are not going to pass each other. And this Observer, as soon as it spots the starport with the research, should begin training up a second Observer. This could be very, very bad for Monchi. There's only 1 Observer, and that Observer is on the wrong side of the map, as this Cloaked Banshee is looking to just absolutely wreak some havoc. Alright, in comes that Banshee. Banshee, how much damage is it going to do? And here you go, 1 kill already, 2 kills. Getting in some easy shots, 3. And now it is going to be 4. Oh, going after the Sentry. The Sentry, always a very nice, expensive target, as another probe going to get taken down. And that Sentry kill already making this Banshee worth its weight, as it is going after perhaps even more and more probes. Another probe is going to get taken down. There goes another one. Another probe getting taken down there. And this Banshee already with 11 kills. And Beasty should have canceled that Colossus, knowing that there would be a Banshee already coming in. Okay, the Banshee now trying to back away here. Stalkers do warp in up on the high ground, as 1 Observer keeping track of this Banshee, making sure that it does not come back to haunt him. The damage has been dealt though. 937 resources lost versus 100. And that Banshee, even if you factor in the cost of Cloak, has done the necessary damage that it needs. 1 Zealot now trying to get away. Will it be able to get away? It looks like it does have a bit of a head start. 1-1 upgrades already finished for the Zealots and the Gateway units of Monchi. Meanwhile, Beasty is still sitting at 0-0, so Monchi is not out of it just quite yet. He does have an advantage, and you can also see that there is only a 5 probe difference between these two, or a 5 worker difference between these two armies, as Vikings are now being trained. 6 barracks being added. Beasty going into what, quad Viking production, suspecting that there are going to be a lot of Colossi. And there are already currently 2 Colossi on the field, with a 3rd one under training. And if Monchi tries to attack, not realizing how strong of an anti-air force or anti-Colossi force Beasty has, he's going to be walking straight into a trap. You can see Marauders being added. I still do not see any medevacs on the field though, surprisingly. But we do have those 6 Vikings, which still could prove to be the death of Beasty. In comes a 3rd command center here by Beasty. Meanwhile, a Nexus already being established down over here by Monchi. SCV is already doing a little bit of that walk of shame, long distance mining. Beasty now sitting at 53 SCVs compared to 52 probes. Monchi, even in terms of economy, but still behind in terms of overall army supply. 81 supply versus 53. Beasty should win out pretty much in any battle, unless Monchi gets absolutely superior positioning, especially with 1 sentry and some force fields. A 4th Colossus now being added as well. 2-2 upgrades coming in, and they will be going up against 1-1 upgraded Marines. That is not going to go well, especially 2-2 upgrades on those Colossi, which means that they will be taking significantly less damage from those Vikings. From 28 normal damage down to, I believe, 22, because there is already a base 1 armor on those Colossi. Factory now looking to move in. Here are the Stalkers going to be able to shoot it down. The Colossi perhaps should be backing away. Beasty does not see the number of Colossi, which is a huge giveaway as to how many units Beasty really needs. Vikings now coming in here, and there is some quick, easy shots as the Stalkers now running away from that one cloaked Banshee. Here you have it. There are the Colossi. 2-2 upgrades are about to complete. The Banshee is in position, but because there's such a high concentration of Colossi, there is no observers. Observer now finally being brought over here as we now see Vikings still on the move here. Beasty may end up losing this factory. No, not going to lose it, as we see all the probes are now running away and will be able to mine again another day. Beasty in a very aggressive forward position. Zealots now going to be getting charged in just a moment as more pylons are being added. Marines walking straight into a group of Stalkers here. Not a very, very good engagement at all, as the Vikings are now looking for proper positioning. Here we go. Colossi now going to engage. Vikings making their way over. One Colossus already down. Second Colossus and third Colossi both getting focused down separately, as there you go. All of the Colossi are now gone. Vikings now going into ground mode, adding in a little bit more DPS. 10 damage a second, essentially the same as a Stalker, and Monchi has left the game, giving Beasty game 3 in this best of 3 series. Beasty taking control with one Banshee and never relinquishing it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 3 in this best of 3 series.